So guys, Dr. Abati has come under fire by Nigerians on the social media for saying that the Sharia law is part of our constitution and it cannot, be removed from the constitution. Dr. Abati was also seen in that video saying that people shouldn't push Tinubu to go and start removing the Sharia from the constitution, that the Sharia is legitimately existing. So guys, I'm going to allow you to take a look at the video, but let me show you how some Nigerians have reacted to that. Like this person say, how will revisiting a constitution as regards to a law practiced by a group of people which has turned into a case of concern to other tribes which they are not comfortable with will bring problem? Or does it mean there is a tribe that is to be treated with more preference? Another person here said he's irredeemable. This is what happens to gluten. He said Sharia does not belong to a religious group. This man was a former editor of a newspaper, a lawyer, I guess, and a former spokesperson to the former president. This shows how vicious, shallow, empty Abati is. And another person here said, it is not the effect of the obnoxious Sharia law to Christians. It's how it will affect President Tinubu's chances of winning re-election. Nigerians are saying that Abati is just trying to protect Tinubu so that he doesn't go to, remove the Sharia law and then the North will rise against him. Abati is just trying to protect Tinubu, not because he wants to protect Nigerians or Christians who are the ones facing this crisis. So guys, we all know that it is being seen that Sharia law is one of the drivers of the Christian genocide happening in Nigeria because they want that law to dominate. Now, let me allow you to take a look at the moment when this happened on Arise TV show. Take your time, watch this video and other videos I've got for you. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Now take a look.
It was Dr. Ebenezer Obadare, he used to be one of our colleagues in those early days, who recommended that two solutions to address the problem in Nigeria. Put pressure on the Nigerian government to do a lot more, then ban Sharia in 12 northern states and also ban the Isba units.
Yes.
Well, the thing to note is that the Sharia law is in fact in the Constitution of Nigeria. I think I said this about 2 days ago. In sections 275, 279. And its jurisdiction is civil. It's not a criminal orthodoxy, as some people are trying to define it in the United States. It means that the Sharia law can only apply to persons who have elected to be tried under the Sharia law. And we have Sharia Court of Appeal. We have in some of these states, where you have the Sharia, and in any case, it's a federal system.
Yeah.
Some states, that say, oh, we want to adopt this kind of system of law, are allowed to do so. But that law should not apply to people who do not subscribe to it. So you cannot use Sharia law now to punish Christians.
Yes, and
I do not think that President Tinubu has the powers to unilaterally say, oh, you will declare Sharia law unconstitutional. In fact, that will be a prescription for chaos, for conflict. In fact, it will worsen the situation because persons from those 12 northern states and religious leaders who, since 1978 Constitutional Conference, insisted on the Sharia being accommodated as a personal orthodoxy. They will be the ones to now rise up in arms. So, in trying to solve a problem in Nigeria, you create another problem.
All right. We have often seen, like you have said, that the Sharia law should not be used to persecute Christians, right? But we have seen that happen. I think we've discussed this at length. Ayo, even recently, we've seen...
Now it's inching closer.
Yes.
And the truth is that we need to also decide whether or not Nigeria is a secular state or not.
Correct.
If we say that Nigeria is a secular state, then we cannot have sports whereby a particular religious law is allowed. So we need to make that decision. And I did mention at the beginning of this conversation around Christian genocide that we must have uncomfortable conversations around Sharia law in some states. I also believe that it's important to find out to what extent the Christians living in those... we've seen incidents where it crosses over. It always crosses over after a while. And that's where the challenge is. If something was instituted or called upon, if we see that it has a negative effect, we can go back to the conversation, revisit it, and actually find out if it's still working.
Except that Sharia is not a religion.
When I apply to a particular religious group,
the Constitution says there shall be no state religion.
Correct.
In any part. And there's no state of Nigeria where they say you must only be Muslims or you must only be Christians.
Yeah, but the point she's making
is a system of judicial administration
that applies to only only a particular group.
Or whoever submits to it.
Yes.
But it's mainly the religious
So let me tell you why she's talking about, why we're talking about this, because only recently I think we saw a man's store that was closed down in Abuja and said it was a Sharia court that repossessed his property, and we have seen some of these.
No Sharia in the EFCT.
Well, that was the conversation.
In the state where it was brought before.
It was brought before.
And so they are inches.
So it was in the state it was brought before.
Closer.
So exactly, because the people that were persecuting were, using the Sharia court to do that. And so, like Ayo has said, this is a situation where these laws are inching and also persecuting people that have not subscribed to it. For example, we saw Deborah, the killing of Deborah, who was blasphemous, and she was killed. She was burned, but she was Christian, and they used the blasphemy law to persecute her. So these are the sort of conversations that are uncomfortable and need to be had. If we have to revisit the conversation, we should open it again on the table. And this is my thought. The Constitution is being reviewed all the time, Dr. Abati, isn't it?
We're talking about Sharia law. I'm saying it will cause a lot of problems.
Well,
I don't think President Tinubu needs to go in that direction.
Well, that's your advice. But the Nigerian people are saying that these are the conversations that need to be had. If this is a situation where Christians are being persecuted for something that they did not subscribe to, I believe it's something that should be put on the table.
Looking at the map of Nigeria you see here, you see this section in yellow, 12 contiguous states. Simultaneously imposed Sharia in year 2000, meaning that they consulted. It was their state House of Assembly that did all of what was done. Their governors signed such things into those legislations into law and set up the Hisbah, the Sharia police that have been enforcing. They've never repealed any of those laws the same way they pass them. They may tell you, oh, it's a joke, Sharia does not exist, but it exists in Kanu, destroying people's business. It exists in Sokoto, destroying people's business. And so we come down to section 10. Let's listen very carefully. For those who may think that these are troublemakers who don't wish Nigeria well, Nigeria, the Federation, is not what we are discussing. Nigeria, the Federation, died a long time ago. But the Nigeria, the unitary state, the monster that is now feeding on the blood of those it's holding by force against the will. It is that Nigeria that has, the Nigeria that should have been our union was agreed to be a secular state. For which reason, Section 10 of the 1999 Constitution, as disputed as it is, Section 10 expressly forbids the adoption of any state religion by the government of the Federation or that of any state. That's no state, the government of the Federation or that of a state shall not adopt any religion as state religion. That's the entire provision of Section 10. And so when in year 2000, these 12 contiguous states that run from Sokoto Kebbi through Kano Jigawa to Borno in the uppermost north of Nigeria simultaneously imposed Sharia, adopted and imposed Sharia and began to implement it, they had seceded from the secular union of Nigeria as dictated by Section 10. That says they should not do such a thing, they should not adopt state religion. And so we were, ordinarily it would have been to go and quarrel with them, but we took a second look at it in this project and we said that this is self-determination that they have exercised, and they went through due process. They consulted among themselves. That was why they could act simultaneously. They are contiguous. They were not picking one here, picking one there, so you don't know how they came about it. They are contiguous. They acted simultaneous. And so it must be that they consulted. But if anybody was in doubt, they went through the due process of their state assemblies passing the law. They also went through the due process of their governors signing and setting up the Hisbah. And so we interpreted it to mean that they had decided to secede from the secular union we were building together with them. They've left the Nigerian Union. They've now regrouped and are coming on a conquest mission knowing that the title, having abandoned their own title deed in that respect, that the constitution by which Nigeria is convened and controlled and managed, they departed from that constitution by imposing Sharia. But they regrouped and they are here now overrunning, invading communities, killing people and bringing their the Fulani from Mauritania and Senegal and everywhere to come to share the land. They've shared it all the way to Port Harcourt. Look at the tiles on the ground where you are. And you will see the kind of formations in which they had, divided up the entire land all the way to Bonny and Badagry in Lagos area, Bonny in River. And so we are saying that it is that is the first practical rejection of the Nigerian Federation by that part. The campaign we are leading was then the response of, because these same people who have imposed Sharia have departed from a union of sanctity of life. Under Sharia, the adherents owe it a duty of faith to kill the infidel. How are we to be in a union where our compatriots owe it a duty of faith to kill us? We saw what happened with Gideon Akaruka. We saw what happened with Deborah in Sokoto. We saw what's going on with we had when Dr. Melafia told us who and who was doing what. We saw what Buhari, the champion of Sharia, and the killings that come with Sharia. The same people adopted in their worldview, their civilization is that of feudalism. Feudalism. Under Sharia, we are exposed to being killed as infidels. Under their feudalism, we are exposed to being killed too, because in their worldview of feudalism, there's only the master and the slave. Our insistence on democracy is infuriating to them, because in feudalism, you can't be talking democracy, because the slaves cannot have equal rights with the master. The reason that people are flying flags, Odua nation, Biafra nation, Ijaw nation, at a time the ones who are doing Sharia had gone their way. So there are practical steps to leave the union. People are holding solemn assemblies and saying we can't proceed on this. None of those things will change. And the reason they are doing so, in case anybody did not understand it, apart from the Sharia belt that has seceded, the feudalist belt that has seceded, the other ones who are who subscribe to democracy, who subscribe to constitutionalism, they insist on a union of sanctity of life. They insist on a union of equality of men. The Ninas Alliance, the South and the Middle Belt, minimum condition for re-entering, for renegotiating even any form of union. Where we are now is that the union is at an end. Anybody who doesn't understand it will learn the hard way that the constitution has been delegitimized and is going to be decommissioned. Whether we went to a meeting to do so together or it happens unilaterally, because that's where it will go next. In the kind of brigandage we have seen, in the kind of killings we have seen, in the kind of refusal to listen that we have seen, people pointing guns, union at gunpoint, it's not going to last, it's started too long already.
Mr. Speaker, our constitution allows for freedom of worship of all religions. Mr. Speaker, we would not sit in this hollow chamber and restrict ourselves to just a few. If we begin to put such components into the constitution, tomorrow the ecclesiastical faction comes up. The day after, the traditional faction comes up. The day after, all other components begin to come up. And what happens to our grand norm that is supposed to be the foundation of our existence? Mr. Speaker, Nigeria has never limited anybody from practicing his religion. You go to states like in the north, where you have Sharia being practiced as the criminal code for those states. It is because it's peculiar to them as a people and as a persons. By the time we begin to expand it and bring it into our constitution, We are not an Islamic state. We're a secular state. We're not a celestial state. We're a secular state. We are not a traditional worship state. We're a secular state that respects and gives everybody a sense of belonging. We're a nation. We need to be sensitive to the mood and the existence, freedom of speech, freedom of association, to live in happiness, not a scenario whereby there could be some misconceptions. To this end, I wish to crave the indulgence of the sponsor of this bill that he steps it down for more legislative input, and consultation, which would be more in tune with our beliefs and the norms. But I do not believe it is a legislation that should pass for second reading. I so submit.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues. I want to comment as the second to the last speaker spoke. In fact, the bill that was moved by the sponsor, we are supposed to commend him. I agree Nigeria is a secular state where we have different opinions, traditions, religion, and what have you. But if you see this motion or this bill, it will help Nigerians to know that these commercial banks, especially Taj Bank and what have you, many people have perceived that these banks are specifically for Muslims, while it is not. So by expanding this nature, I believe when it is encompasses to everybody, many people will see the benefit of this bill, and I believe in the near future, many people will see that the mover put this in the right direction. Thank you very much.
Honorable Queer. I rise to add my voice to this all-important motion for a bill to amend our constitution with respect to the expansion of the description of Islamic law. Let me start by saying that the constitution mandates our government that they shall not adopt any religion as a state religion, meaning that Nigeria is a secular state. Number two is the fact that Section 38 is very clear as to the rights given to all Nigerians in terms of choice of religion and how they worship. Section 2 goes further to say that Nigeria is a federation consisting of the federal government and then the state governments, giving the states the liberality to adopt whatever kind of law they want to use in governing their people. And that's why we have some states with all this Sharia law and all of that. They are permitted to do it, the States House of Assembly. But the Constitution, as a ground norm that governs all of us, the traditional institutions, the Obas in the Yoruba land, the Igwe in the east, the Shekiri, the Fulanis, the Hausas, gives us only one right, the right to choose whichever one we want. We can therefore not allow this constitution to become so filled with frivolities that is supposed to be the mandate of the state. We have all been clamoring for physical federalism. Give more power to the states to do it the way they want, to do it in the way of the culture of their people. And that's why I will want to implore the mover of this motion to please allow us to please step down this amendment for the time being so that we can deliberate more on it. Because, of course, from the way I see it, it's such that the state should be considering, not here. The problem of religious war, we started as far back as 1938 in this country. Let it not start here again. Let it not be that it is this house that is going to put fuel to the very fragile democracy, to the very fragile situation, the unity between us. It's very important. As we are talking now, people are hearing us. People are seeing us, thinking that we want to promote one religion over the other. I therefore pray that we step this down for the time being. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Of an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, to review the description of Islamic law in the Constitution as related matters, HB 1502. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any second? Yes, sir. Kwakwansia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Hassan Sheikh Hussein.
Distinguished colleagues, briefly, as the chair or the Speaker requested, the 1999 Constitution, as amended, the 1999 Constitution, as amended, Mr. Speaker, provide for a personal Islamic law in the Constitution. The Constitution did not envisage the dynamism and the development coming off in the country. In 2003, the Constitution did not recognize that the Islamic commercial law, Islamic company law, Islamic international law, Islamic public laws. In 2003, Mr. Speaker, Taj Bank came up under the commercial Islamic law. In 2019, another bank came up under the commercial law. That means the Jaiz Bank, not the Taj Bank. The Jaiz Bank was in 2004. The Taj Bank came in 2019. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you look at the personal law, it only encompasses marriage, divorce, and the inheritance. Therefore, what I'm requiring is the removal of the removal of personal in section 24 of the Constitution, section 262, section 277, and section 288, so that other relevant laws like the commercial law, Islamic commercial law, the Islamic company law, the Islamic international law can have a place in the Constitution. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, this is what I want the honorable colleagues to support so that this amendment can be done. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mr. Wiskodin, I think, is in the right direction to give a backup for the commercials and other laws that already we are practicing without proper backing, particularly in our Islamic-related financial institution of not only limited to Taj Bank or Jaiz Bank, but there are several banks that are now practicing, particularly the Mudahara and the other sharing formulas. I think this is a very welcome development that it will give even an economic leeway for the nation to see the goodness of such practices in our financial institution to get the backup of the law. I do support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, Bob Solomon, please. Solomon Bob, from the great state of Rivers. Now, this matter, actually, I think it will be dealt with in better technical detail at the committee level for constitutional review, because there's so much to say about this kind of. Okay, I'm sorry. I was told you were not listening to me. I'm saying that this bill will be better dealt with in broader technical detail at the level of committee for constitutional review. But straight off, the section you're referring to, if it is removed, the word personal is removed, The implication immediately is that Islamic law will now have a general application with respect to criminal law across the country. The word personal there was put for a purpose. So if you remove it, that's the implication. It will have great consequences. So we can look at the details of what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve, and advise at the committee level. With respect to the reference they made to Taj Bank and Jais Bank, their operations have not been in any way hindered. There are regulations dealing with those matters concerning banks, CBN Act, and all the rest of them. So those are matters that the banks can deal with. They don't have to incorporate, or attract or drag interest with respect to commercial ambitions to the Constitution. So essentially, Mr. Speaker, my point is, this bill should be referred to the committee on constitutional review, where we can sit down and then look at, it to a T in every way. Thank you.
Thank you for making it brief. I'd like to go further constituency of Osun State. Mr. Speaker, I want to, with respect, differ from the mover of the bill on the need for us to amend the Nigerian Constitution in this particular instance. And I'm saying this, Mr. Speaker, because as students of history, we all know the issues surrounding the particular section in reference, especially at the various constituent assemblies leading to the 1979 Constitution, the 1989 Constitution that was not promulgated, and now the 1999 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, the drafters of the Nigerian Constitution are very conscious of the secularity of the Nigerian nation, and also very conscious of the sensitive nature of religion. And I remember the 1976 Constitutional Assembly, the 1979 Constitution, was very, very contentious on this matter until the then federal military government came in to stop further debate on this matter and took a decision that the application of Islamic laws will only be constrained to personal matters, which has to do with administration of estate and some other issues. Mr. Speaker, we have to be very, very cautious of whatever we do to alter the Nigerian Constitution in a manner that will further widen the divide that we have as a country. And in any case, Mr. Speaker, like my previous colleague said, the matters which my colleague seek to address by this proposal is already covered by existing laws. The Kama law, covers regulation on issue of finances and allows for its application of Islamic principles of financial transaction. The same thing with the CBN Act, like you already said. And the moment we allow the Constitution to be altered to take care of all manner of interests, we will no longer be in a state where the sanctity of the Constitution is respected, and the intent of the drafters of the Nigerian Constitution, via or as regards to the secular nature of the Nigerian nation, might be threatened if we allow this to go on. Mr. Speaker, I sincerely think that this bill should not pass on for the second reading. For these reasons I've adduced. Thank you.
Thank you. Abdul Hakim Kamilo Ado, representing Udelgarko Federal Constituency, Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I would like to make it brief to say that while being cautious, but we have to consider, and considering also the divisions we have in this country, we have to consider the ethics, the values, and the interest of the masses. Because we are here in this hollow chamber to represent the Nigerians, and also not to make a religion or a tribe or a community, not to constrain them from practicing something which is their way of life. We all know that Nigeria comprises of so many religions and also tribes and communities. But these religious matters, we consider it as a way of life, not just a mere religion. So considering the ethics and the values and the interest of the masses, not looking at the division or being cautious of what this will cause, Mr. Speaker, I think this bill is supposed to pass for the second reading. In my opinion, Mr. Speaker, we need to commend the Honorable Misau for coming up with this bill in order to unite and to create a room, free room or an interest for people that are practicing Islamic religion to practice their religion freely and to consider some way of life which comprises so many things. Talk less of the commercial that he talked about. There are so many things we need to consider in order to encompass it under this bill. If at all we are considering this bill to be passed via the committee, then, Mr. Speaker, as you said earlier, that we are here as parliamentarians in order to pass bills, and it doesn't have to go through the committee. So we can pass it, and then later on the committee can consider what they can do about the bill. But we are here to debate it, and we are debating it. So let us go on with the debate, and later on consider what we can go with in this hollow chamber. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Speaker. My name is Honorable Isa Muhammad Anka, representing Anka Talata Mafra constituency. I'm from Zamfara State. My able Speaker, our honorable colleagues, I wouldn't want to dwell on issues already spoke by the last speaker. In other words, he has spoken my mind. But the other speaker, the last but one, talked about karma. Karma is already embedded in the constitutions. Therefore, it takes care of other commercial laws. And I think we need to understand the subject matter of this bill. The bill is calling for description of Islamic law. In other words, the bill is seeking the House to define, because of the existing situations now, looking at the issue of, like he rightly caught, other commercial laws that have not been embedded, that have not been taken care into the Constitution. I think it's a straightforward bill. He is not calling the fact that, he's not calling for expunging the existing Sharia law, but rather to define it in order to encompass all those, existing situations that have just come up. That is my contribution, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's not talking about Sharia law. He's talking about the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So that we get it right, his bill is about the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not the Sharia law. Okay, Jonathan, please, let's hear you.
My name is Honorable Said Musa Abdullahi. I represent the people of Bida, Bako, Kacha Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I'm from Niger State. Mr. Speaker, I think we need not lose sight of what the proposer of the bill intends to achieve. I understand how sensitive matters related to religion are, especially in this country. But the fact of the matter is, we cannot treat the religion issues in isolation. There are issues that we must bring to the front burner and discuss, irrespective of how sensitive they are. I didn't want to stand, but I looked at the sensitivity. Even from the argument, you could see the sensitivity that is driving the sentiment that is driving the argument. But if we focus,
Honorable Ali, approach the chair.
If we focus on what the bill intends to achieve,
approach the chair.
The bill intends to review the description of Islamic law, which means it's already enshrined in the Constitution. What it seeks to achieve is to review the description. So it's already in the Constitution. I don't understand why we will see it as something that we need to snowball into a crisis or what have you. This is what we have done that over the years that has led us to not make progress on certain issues. It doesn't matter how sensitive these issues are. We must be able to debate them. This is what our people sent us here to do. If we run away from discussing a problem, if we assume it to be a problem, and we're running away from discussing it, how will you provide solution to it? I will agree and accept the fact that there is need for further, broader consultation. But for us to run away from the problem, for us to drop it and say it's not an issue to be discussed on this floor, I don't think it's something that is acceptable. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
My name is Honorable Abati. I represent the good people of Yagba Federal Constituency. I'm from Kogi State. Mine is an appeal because of the mood in the House now, that this bill be stepped down for when we have all our leaders seated, so that they can also contribute to the debates. I want to appeal that if you look today now, most of the leaders are on their way to Jigawa State to commiserate with them. Because of the sensitive nature of this bill, my appeal is for us to step it down and let us have a full house and full time to discuss this bill. We cannot rush it. The way we want to rush it, it may not even get the result that we want the bill to achieve. I'm not saying the bill should not go. All I'm saying is that let us have time to discuss it in full. As I'm speaking to you, I have not seen the details of the bill. So, and for us to be able to contribute meaningfully, we need the details of this bill. Without the details of the bill, if you are talking, you are only talking to the A. Maybe it's different from those sections you are quoting in the Constitution. And it may not have any issue to deal with it. Let us have the details of this bill so that we digest it and come back another day for the debate. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues.
So guys, let's quickly take a look at this headline on the social media. Finally, some of the terror sponsors in Nigeria, their names are now shortlisted. Like you can see, it says terror suspects, alleged financiers were linked to powerful Nigerians, including former Attorney General, that's Malami, former army chiefs. I don't know why they mention only Malami name here, former army chiefs. Others coming from Major General Ali Kefi, retired anyway. So this is Ali Kefi, and let me read, I'm going to read this article to get more details on what Sahara Reporters is saying here. Now, this article reads further saying, 2 suspects were linked to former Chief of Army Staff. Brutal. 2 others were linked to former Attorney General Malami, while 1 suspect was linked to former Central Bank Governor Emefiele. Can it be possible? Or is this just a political witch hunt? This one they are calling Malami. How can a Christian be sponsoring terrorists? I don't understand that. Terror suspects. I don't understand that. Malami is a Christian and then he's sponsoring Fulani headsmen. At least if they mention names of Northerners, it's understandable than mentioning names of Southerner, who is also a Christian, being the one sponsoring Fulani terrorists. Now, let me read more of this information, more of this article from Sahara Reporters. It says, a groundbreaking counter-terrorism operation personally approved by former President Muhammad Buhari has resurfaced in controversy following explosive revelation by retired Army General Ali Kefi, who once commanded the 1 Division and served as General Officer commanding GOC. Ali Kefi was handpicked in 2021 to lead Operation Service-Wide, a multi-agency investigative task force mandated to identify Boko Haram masterminds, expose their financial backers, and dismantle the network enabling the insurgency. But according to the retired general, the operation unearthed far more than expected. It exposed the sprawling network of financiers, especially tied to senior government officials, influential military officers, and top financial institutions. According to him, what followed was a systemic effort to neutralize the investigation, protect powerful individuals, and silence those behind the probe. So it went further to say that information obtained by Sahara reporters confirmed that OSW, working with the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, arrested several high-profile suspects in March 2021. The arrests were based on detailed information intelligence that tracked flows of money linked to terrorism. These findings were formally presented to Buhari in September 2021 under the auspices of NFIU. According to Ali Kefe, former Chief of Army Staff General Farouk Yahya, retired, featured prominently in the briefing, though information later leaked to one of the arrested suspects. Ali Kefe said the very next month he was suddenly summoned to the headquarters of military police on October 18, 2021. He presented himself only to be detained for several hours after extensive interrogation. He was then held for 64 days, never charged, never queried, and never tried by any military or civil court before being compulsorily retired. Till today, I don't know my offense, he said, adding that his arrest was a coordinated attempt to halt the terrorism financing probe. He stated that no action was taken on his petition to President Tinubu seeking redress, pushing him to go public and file a case at the National Industrial Court. He noted that as of now, the court has not sat even once, claiming that the court process were not served on the Nigerian army. According to his lawyer, strongly suspect foul play, adding that his lawyer strongly suspect foul play. Powerful individual allegedly linked to suspect. General Kefi insisted that the command are not based, the comments are not based on anonymous source, but on what he was personally told by the CEO of NFIU at the time, Mobibu Hama Toko Ribadu, who worked directly with OSW. So this is also two other suspects were linked to former Attorney General Abubakar Malami, while one suspect linked to the central bank, former central bank Godwin Emefiele. General Farouk was linked to one suspect. I am not accusing Brutai, Malami, and Emefiele of terrorism, Ali Kevi clarified, but I was informed by the former NFIU director that investigations linked them to some of the suspects. I don't know if they were later cleared, but up to the time I was arrested, detained, compulsorily retired, and taken off the OSW, they were linked to some of the suspects. He also revealed that Brutai reportedly asked the NFI boss to prevail on me to release two suspects. Ali Kefi said he refused and instead informed Buhari directly without naming Brutai. According to Ali Kefi, Buhari reacted angrily, telling them, you report to me and to me alone. He further clarified that none of the powerful individuals were directly found to be involved in terrorism. He said, let me state again that the former director of And NFIU told me that General Brutai, Malami, Emefiele, and General Yaya respectively were linked to some of the suspects based on business connections. Not that a lot of suspects were engaged in legitimate business, which was Bureau de Change, which, however, we suspect were cover for their nefarious activities, which were terrorism financing. So guys, you can see it's now being revealed that Malami also have people that do all this dirty job for them. These people don't want Nigeria to progress, honestly. They just want to see this country fail and fail woefully. It's really so sad that this is coming at a time when many people are, crying over insecurity. Now, Nigerians are reacting. This person say the truth is coming out small. The vital question is, if those that prescribe IPOB and kidnap nnamdi kanu are now linked to the real terror financing, is it not obvious that nnamdi kanu is a good guy? Can the citizen demand for his release? Good men are seen as terror by those who finance terrorism and terrorists. God, what's your take? Oh my God. It's really, really so pathetic. Oh, Papa. I would say if now and still in the future that Buhari was responsible for Nigeria's fate to the high rate of Fulani attacks and the spread of terrorism occasioned by Boko Haram activities in other parts of Nigeria, he knew all these, but yet rewarded to Koa Brutai with ambassador. They should investigate them, and if found guilty, they should be sentenced to death as soon as possible. No need to jail anyone. It's hard to separate real life from politics these days. So until we start seeing real prosecution and long jail sentences, I'll just be observing. On Amotekun and Herdsmen 2021, Malami declared Southwest Amotekun Security Outfit unconstitutional, claiming it targeted Fulani herdsmen, trying to give access to bandits to carry out their wrongs without accountability, honestly. It's really, really so sad. Malami, banning open grazing is like banning sale of spare parts. Can you imagine? This was all what they said during Buhari. I know they support Malami. I know they support Brutai. I know they support anybody with them call here. But it get one kind pattern way they show face. Just few months ago, Malami declared for ADC. Next thing, EFCC carry am enter their matter. And if that one no do, them don't add himself. They don't add himself. They finance terrorism. Former Attorney General of the Federation. Now, so Brutai write Tinubu open letter last month about weakest link. Today again, story don't turn say Brutai to na sponsor of terrorism. Make we dey look this drama wey PC and Bola Tinubu dey script for us, because the timing, the target, and sudden accusation no dey add up. But anyhow, as law enforcement they do their work, we dey watch everything with our eyes.